I think we both have Georgia.
Yep.
Should we write that in Sharpie?
No, I will say Georgia's the clear favorite. Don't get me wrong. But I do think Milton is a good quarterback. I think they're going to put up some points. It's going to be a crazy game in Tennessee. Tennessee's going to be a 10-2 football program. Would I bet my life that Georgia wins at Tennessee? No, I wouldn't. I'm going to say it's likely, but I wouldn't bet my life.
I would.
I would say a 95%. Did you watch
those two teams play last year?
Yeah, at Georgia. And Tennessee's it was an upstart program. They went from 5-7,
that had a Heisman hopeful quarterback that should have been in New York and 2 stud receivers. Now I do like Brew McCoy. I like Squirrel Wright.
It's the defense.
White. But you think that offense is going to be as good this year?
I think
the biggest reason Tennessee could beat Georgia is because the game's in Knoxville.
And I said that was part of the reason. Would I bet my life that Georgia goes into crazy Knoxville and wins? No, I wouldn't bet my life.
Yeah, I would.
Okay. Have fun.
Yeah, they're going to go 12-0.
So, yeah, I'm taking Georgia in the East. And in the West, I will be taking Alabama. Roll Tide. It's going to be a different team. This isn't the Bryce Young years. This isn't the Tua years. Probably going to be thrown at 45 times a game. They're going to be running the ball. You're going to see some carries for McKellen, Williams. You're going to see, a greater emphasis with the play action pass. But the biggest thing for Alabama, the difference between the national championship winning teams in the past 2 editions of Alabama, they're giving up 20 points a game, not 13 points a game. There has been a difference with the style of defensive play. They've been getting gashed. Nick Saban last year was the first time they've ever given up 52 points in a game, when Tennessee put that up in Knoxville. That's really got to change. That's the big difference with Alabama. Is it enough to beat Georgia? Maybe not. Like, as we talked about it, you probably got to put up 40 points to beat a team like Georgia. But to win the West Division, what's going to be key is getting that defense back to Nick Saban standards.
Yeah, so I'm picking LSU.
You think they're going to go into Tuscaloosa and win?
I think that I would take 6 or 7 players on LSU's roster before I would take 1 player on Alabama's roster right now.
You have no faith in Nick Saban.
I see. I listen. The biggest fear I have against doing this is because the game is in T-Town. But historically, LSU actually plays them better in Tuscaloosa and Bryant-Denny than they do in Death Valley for whatever reason. I really like this LSU roster. I like the depth that they have at the top. I trust Jaden Daniels at quarterback. I think that, obviously the Mason Smith suspension, I think, is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that he's missing the first game of the year against Florida State is beyond stupid. But Harold Perkins might be the best defensive player in the country. Malik Neighbors, I think, is probably the best wide receiver in the SEC. That's like 3-4 guys that I think that Alabama would just love to have on their roster this year. And I just like Jermaine Burton transferred from Georgia last year and had like an year for Bama. I'm still waiting on Ja'Cory Brooks to like live up to his 5-star potential as a receiver. He's never done it. The receiver room, if you read stuff coming out of Alabama's camp, has had a ton of issues with drops. That's great when you have 3 quarterbacks who no one actually truly believes in, it seems like. Jalen Milroe is like probably the highest ceiling of them all because of how awesome he is as a runner, but people question if he can actually throw the ball. Tyler Buckner transfers from Notre Dame after being very mid last year. Ty Simpson is a redshirt freshman, just like Jalen Milroe. I mean, Dylan Lonergan has kind of gotten some pub here of late. Saban said good things about him. He's a 5-star freshman. I think that they're going to be good at running back. Jace McClellan's going to be good. At running back, they're also going to have Justice Haynes, who's, I think, the 2nd or 3rd highest rated running back in the 2023 class. They'll run the ball well, but I don't trust their offense. I don't think that they're going to be able to score enough to consistently beat teams that are playing for a college football playoff bid. And defensively, they're going to be really good. Like, you look at guys that they have returning at key positions on the edge. They're strong there with guys like Dallas Turner. They have Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's one of the better corners in the country. They have some talent at safety too, with some freshmen that they're bringing in, like Denzel Ricks, things like that. But no, I don't trust the depth there, and which is weird because they have a 90% blue chip ratio, but their top line, like, I just don't think it's as good as LSU's. And I fully respect that people are like, you know what? They have Nick Saban, that game's in Tuscaloosa. I fully get all that, and like I respect it. But I think LSU's top line is better.
They do have better front seven. Great front seven. Great quarterback. Better quarterback.
Yeah. And like, I will say this about Jaden Daniels. If Jaden Daniels is going to be good enough for them to be undefeated or have just one loss heading into the SEC title game, which is where I'm predicting them to be, he's got to be second half of the season Jaden Daniels, and he can't be first half of the regular season Jaden Daniels, because first half of the year he was not very good, but second half of the year, he was really good. By the way, I didn't mean to say Des Ricks. I meant to say Caleb Downs, freshman safety for Bama. He's gotten a ton of good pub.
So how are you feeling? How are you feeling about Texas then? If we like LSU, what don't we like about Texas beating them at Alabama? And is Nick Saban going to lose 2 home games? The first time since 2007.
I think that they can beat Texas. I think they can beat Texas because the game's at home in Texas. I don't think is as proven as LSU is. But the reason that I'm more confident picking LSU is because LSU's done it. LSU's beaten them. LSU, their top line talent has proven to be really good. And so is Texas's, right? Like, Caleb Banks is really good. Obviously, we know Xavier Worthy's really good. We know A.D. Mitchell's good. He's got to stay healthy. Like, we're kind of projecting a little bit with Quinn and him being able to take a step that I think he's going to take. Like, I think Quinn Ewers is more likely to be a first-round NFL draft pick than Jaden Daniels. But I think I know that Jaden Daniels has the potential to be a really good college quarterback, more than Quinn does right now.
Yeah. Just roll back to Alabama real quick. Last year, close game, went to overtime. Brian Kelly goes for 2. That's awesome. The real reason why we're not taking Alabama is because of the quarterback play. If they had a Bryce Young, if they had a Tua, even if they had a Jalen Hurts.
It's also the receivers, though.
But,
Bryce Young, they're not throwing to Jerry Jeudy. They're not throwing to Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith or Henry Ruggs or Amari Cooper or Julio Jones. Like, that guy's not on the roster.
So you think LSU, they lost 4 football games last year. Is that just growing pains with Brian Kelly?
They won the SEC West.
At night, I mean, they got dominated by Texas A&M, and they went for 2 against Alabama. Like, congratulations. Alabama was the better football team last year than LSU.
Were they? They lost to LSU.
Yes, they lost at Death Valley in a crazy overtime game, and they didn't lose to Texas A&M.
But why are we talking about last year? Because different teams. They don't have Will Anderson lining up on the edge. They don't have Bryce Young.
I just think when there's a bunch of 5 stars, they're going to have a great running game. I think they're still going to be good.
I don't think that they're not going to be good. I think they're going to be very good.
And
I don't think they're going to be better than LSU.
I think Daniels does battle inconsistencies. I don't think he's this great quarterback that everyone talks about. I think he's talented. The guy sucked at Arizona State.
He was pretty good at Arizona State until Arizona State started to trend downward under the latter years of Herm Edwards.
They were trending downwards in the beginning too. It was a terrible hire.
It was not a good hire, but they won a couple bowl games, or went to a couple bowl games.
Boston College goes to bowl games. I'm so sick of this bowl games as a good season. But I'm going to take Bama. It seems like the trendy pick is LSU. That's what ESPN likes as well. They think LSU is going to win that game. But
Bama was picked as the favorite at SEC polls.
What's great is Georgia can do what Alabama does and just better.